The Crusades and the Inquisition, people committed terrible deeds in the name of Christ.
Comparing the Crusades with the Islamic State's murder rampage, what President Obama's remarks say about his understanding of Islam and ISIS's goals. At a recent gathering of Christian leaders, President Obama compared the Christian Crusades to the atrocities of ISIS. But his remarks not only throw fuel on the fire of the conflict between the Islamic world and the West, they're historically inaccurate, according to Regent University's Dr. Corne Bekker. Christian World News anchor Wendy Griffith recently spoke with Dr. Bekker about what the president's remarks reveal about his understanding of Islam and its goals.
Dr. Bekker, thanks for being with us.
It's a great joy, Wendy.
Well, we just heard President Obama say that Christians should not get on their high horse and judge Islam by ISIS activities. And he used the Crusades as an example. Was this an appropriate example?
It's always interesting to me. I think the Crusades might be the best known portion of Christian history, but yet maybe the most misunderstood. It was an extraordinary, anachronistic reading of the Crusades. We have to remember that the Crusades were, for the most part, defensive wars from Christianity to stem the tide of Islamic invasion, where ISIS, on the other hand, is an aggressive war to take over the rest of the world.
You know, people are still talking a week later about the president's remarks at the prayer breakfast and just trying to understand how it seems like the president seems so disconnected from the terror that ISIS is doing. Is he just not getting it? Where's the disconnect?
It's interesting, the word crusades is not a word that was used during the time of the Crusades. It's in actual fact a term that was invented in the beginning of the 20th century with the rise of liberal ideologies and liberal politics. And it's very clear to me that the president's understanding of Islam and the Crusades tend to be flawed. He sees it as part of a critique on Western colonialism, but of course that's not what it was. It was a defense of Christianity to the invasions of Islam.
Well, both Islam and Christianity have, of course, spread throughout the world. Compare the way Islam has spread with how Christianity has spread.
Right at the beginning of the start of Muhammad and Islam, Islam always spread through war and violence. And even if you were to look in the life of Muhammad himself, and I know this is often something that nobody wants to talk about, but he goes back to his birthplace and conquers this through violence. Yet we find the opposite in the life of Jesus. There's not a single account in the life of Jesus where he called for violence, but quite the opposite. In that he would say, love your enemies, bless those who curse you.
Well, it's interesting because the Quran, as we know, has many verses that say it's okay to harm and kill the unbelievers, the infidels. Is there anything in the Christian Bible, in the New Testament, that says that we can do the same to unbelievers of Christianity?
Wendy, quite the opposite, and this is what Jesus said. He said, you have heard an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. And you can always stop and just think about it. In a world like that, nobody's left with any eyes or any teeth. Jesus said, but I tell you, if somebody strikes you on the one cheek, turn the other cheek. And of course, Jesus lived this. Lived this. He died ultimately.
That's right. That's amazing. Well, what is the church's role in this great battle of these two civilizations?
What an extraordinary opportunity we have as the church right now, Wendy. Christianity has the message of redemption. In my mind, in Islam, there is no possibility for redemption. But here we have the opportunity as the church not only to proclaim clearly what Christ offers, but to show the way to salvation and ultimately peace.
What do you think about what King Abdullah in Jordan is doing right now? You know, a lot of people are having a hard time understanding why Muslims are now killing Muslims, but you say this is not new.
This has always been true. This war of Muslims against Muslims is something that was there right from the beginning. What an extraordinary time we live in. And one of the things that I'm hoping that's happening in the horror of what ISIS is that the eyes of the Muslim world, of the Arab world indeed, would be opened so that they would see what's really going on.
Amen.